Hi guys, you're very welcome here today to this channel narcscon, where we deal with all things in relation to the narcissistic personality disorder, how to understand it and to deal with the abuse, the narcissistic abuse that we've gone through in an effective manner going forward. Today I'd really like to look at a very, very interesting subject, and that is what happens when the narcissist meets a very authentic person. It's a very interesting experience, or interesting to witness. It's interesting to see the effect that has on a narcissist, and it's interesting to see what qualities an authentic person, for want of a use of a better term, actually looks like. And can we become that person going forward in our futures that would repel narcissists so that we don't fall into this trap again? So let's look at what it looks like. I would describe, for this video purpose, an authentic person as being someone who has reached a stage in their life of great wisdom. Often it comes with age. Sometimes people are actually born with this type of inner peace. People can gain this inner peace, and a lot of us post narcissistic abuse will actually find this coming into our lives, and is actually a blessing for the pain we've gone through and for the work we've done on ourselves, and it can bring us into a fantastic experience of life post narcissistic abuse. But getting back to the type of person that I would describe as an authentic person that is repellent to a narcissist. This is a person who is at peace with themselves and thus has inner peace, is very aware of their attributes, their pluses and their minuses, things that they perceive in themselves that aren't so great. They don't kind of concentrate on either one. Their egos aren't stimulated out of proportion to what they feel their talent base is. They don't beat themselves up for things they would know that they're not so good at or feel they're not so good at. So they have a very good balance in life. They don't get triggered easily. They're also very self-sufficient, very kind of self-possessed, but not in a dysfunctional way, in a very healthy way. And they're very in tune with themselves, who they are, what they like, probably often having seen or gone through a lot of difficult experiences in life to get to this kind of self-actualized state. But again, I will say that, like narcissism, I believe some people are actually born with this peaceful soul or inner peace, where they're not threatened by things that are outside them, and they're not triggered by things that are outside them. They are very self-known and self-aware from a very early age. When a narcissist comes upon a person like this, they cannot get that person triggered in any way, because the person is so self-aware. They're not concerned about other people's opinions of them. They have this type of a separate state, a self-possessed state is the best way to describe it. And they actually go into relationships as if they're a sovereign state, the other person is a sovereign state, and when they come together in relationships, they form a shared sovereign state while maintaining the other person's sovereignty and their sovereignty. So what they create between them isn't an amalgamation of the two personalities, but it's something they create together to have a kind of a third state of being. I hope I'm explaining that okay. So they don't entangle with each other and lose their self-identity. And that is what one of these people will do maybe you're this person, maybe I'm becoming this person. After narcissistic abuse, we do so much work on ourselves that we become more sure of who we are, what we want, and are less affected by other people's opinions of us. So guys, when a narcissist meets this type of person, they go about their normal tricks of trying to, triangulate the person, to trigger them, to talk intently to them, to maybe critique them or to praise them. And this person maintains themselves without, it's not grey rock because the person is interacting and is, showing happiness and showing interest in what the narcissist has to say. But the narcissist can't get beyond a certain point. And this is extremely frustrating for the narcissist because the narcissist isn't getting any supply. So they're actually having a conversation with this authentic person, and their control is minimized by the person's lack of reaction to what the narcissist says, because the person comes back to the narcissist with a very undisturbed and firm opinion of where they stand in relation to what the narcissist has said. It's a hard thing to describe, but I hope you get the gist of what I'm saying. The narcissist is ineffectual with a person like this because the narcissist doesn't just have a conversation as an independent person. They're hoping to have an influence, in other words, have a control over the person they're speaking to gain more insight into that person, to gain the person's agreement with them, to figure out where that person's vulnerabilities lie, to figure out how much leverage could they have over that person, to find out what way is there into that person, what way is there to charm that person. And each time the narcissist tries the manipulation, they get a deadpan response in relation to narcissistic supply, because the other person is saying to them, well, that's very interesting. It's interesting. That's an interesting point of view. They say things like, oh, why do you think that yourself? They come back to the person being genuinely interested, being truthful, being not moved to anger, not moved to succumb to any flattery that comes their way. They're very, very balanced. And this is basically like kryptonite to the narcissist, because the narcissist has to be able to affect who they're speaking with in relation to presenting the mask and seeing how someone interacts with the mask and gaining a control over that person. This does not happen with the authentic person. The narcissist actually moves back and away from this type of person because nothing they seem to do is showing any weakness or any over emotional reaction. The person is staying very balanced, very stable, and in a way observing the narcissist as a person they probably don't want to particularly react with, but would go in peace from, if that makes sense. It's as if the person has gone through their life, is very much at peace with themselves and the world. And I don't mean boring, I mean just has a very good idea of people, how people act, who is a bit abnormal, who's a bit dangerous. They can nearly smell the narcissist. It's as if they've had experience with narcissistic people in their lives. They know what that smells like. And a narcissist comes up to them. They don't need to back away. They're not afraid. They know that they can handle themselves with this person, but they know that they couldn't really be bothered interacting with this person on a less than, I suppose, acquaintanceship level. And even at that, don't find it productive because they don't find the person authentic. They find the person a bit fake. They find the narcissist a bit dramatic. They find that the narcissist seems to want to get a reaction or a lot of attention based on an agendized conversation. So they pick up on this very quickly, but aren't bothered by it, but would just rather do something more productive with their time. And guys, this is actually someone who's very truthful, who sees things as they are, but doesn't take things personally. The narcissist's only success with people is when people take what the narcissist does, says, interacts with personally. So a person who's authentic and really knows themselves and knows who they are doesn't take what another person says personally, doesn't particularly need the validation of another person, and doesn't get angry because of what another person, says about them or to them, because they see it as a reflection of the narcissist and maybe an issue that the narcissist has in their own lives or because of who they are. So basically, the narcissist can't touch this person. This person has happy steel around them, in that the narcissist can't break through. And what happens with the narcissist is, it feels like because of their construct, because of the fact that they put a mask up to people in general and need people to believe the mask and interact with it, because the mask takes actions and people need to believe the mask and come back to the mask as if it's real. When they meet an authentic person, the authentic person is actually a bit perplexed, but is happy to nod and, agree and leave and not give the narcissist that energy that keeps the mask alive. So the narcissist basically shrivels in front of this person, and it's shriveling in front of the truth. It's shriveling in front of what I would say is more of a good force, and the narcissist's bad force can't entice the good force, the good person's ego, and can't entice the good person's inner critic. So the narcissist has no way in, and actually everything is reflected back to the narcissist, and the narcissist doesn't have any control there, and therefore feels very vulnerable and very weak. And any further interaction with this person will effectively discombobulate the narcissist to such an extent that they would lack control, lack the power and ability to keep the mask alight, so to speak. So it's a dangerous situation for a narcissist to be around a person of this nature. And guys, having been through narcissistic abuse and having been through the education about narcissists, I honestly believe that your and my authenticity has grown to such an extent post-narcissistic abuse, when you've done the work on yourself, when you make decisions about who you are, who you want to be, how you want your life going forward. You honestly can nearly smell a narcissist, and they can nearly smell you, because they know it's going to be very, very hard to gain control of you. And they know it's also going to be nearly like a narcissistic injury when they meet an authentic person. They're very put off by it, and it is actually a deterrent to narcissists going forward. So I hope that's explained that aspect of a narcissistic slayer, really. That's actually what you become post-narcissistic abuse if you get the education and do the work on yourself. They cannot get in to the extent they have before. They cannot do the damage they did before, and they become less relevant in the world. Thanks guys for your support here. Don't forget to like, and if you're subscribing, can you hit the notification bell, which will notify you whenever I post videos, which is usually twice weekly. God bless. See you again, and take great care of yourselves, please, in the meantime.